Did you ever think about how ridiculous we look, me trying to carry all these bags and you just laughing at me? I asked, struggling with the last of the groceries. Maya grinned, tossing her hair over her shoulder. Ridiculous? Maybe. But it's funny. Admit it, you'd miss the laughs if I wasn't here. I smiled, trying not to notice how her eyes seemed distant for a split second. Funny how you always get out of helping me, huh? Because you secretly like it. She winked, leaning against the counter. And admit it, I'm better at this than you. You're terrible, I teased, but my voice sounded hollow even to me. I watched her, memorizing the way sunlight caught in her hair, how her laugh made the room feel warmer. I wanted to tell her everything, how tired I felt lately, how the doctors said my blood work was off, how sometimes I woke up dizzy and scared, but the words got stuck. You're quiet, Maya said, tilting her head. Something's off, isn't it? I shook my head. No, nothing. Just, tired from work. I forced a laugh. You know how it is. She murmured, but didn't press. Instead, she moved closer and brushed my arm lightly. You've been off for days. I noticed these things. I swallowed hard, the lump in my throat growing. It's nothing. Really. Just a little fatigue. Her smile softened, but there was hesitation in her eyes. Promise me you're not hiding anything. I wanted to. I wanted to tell her everything, but something in me hesitated, a stubborn pride I didn't know I had. I promise, I said, forcing a grin. I can handle it. She nodded, but I could feel her pulling back, just a little, like she was testing me or preparing for something I couldn't yet see. Later, we sat on the balcony, coffee in hand, watching the city lights flicker. I told her stories about my childhood, about the ridiculous mistakes I made at work, anything to keep her close, to hear her laugh. You always spin stories, huh? She said, nudging me. Even the boring ones sound interesting with you. I chuckled, but inside, the worry gnawed at me. How long before the charm wore off? How long before she saw me as fragile? I don't want to worry you, I said softly, tracing the rim of my cup. But, sometimes I feel weak. Tired. Dizziness, stuff like that. Nothing serious. You're scaring me, she interrupted gently. Talk to me straight. Don't hide. I shook my head quickly. No, really, it's nothing. I don't want you to think I don't know, helpless. Her fingers brushed mine for a moment, a fleeting comfort, but then she leaned back, her expression unreadable. Okay, if you say so. But you know I notice, right? I know, I whispered. I tried to smile again, hiding the anxiety twisting inside me. For a while, silence filled the space, broken only by the distant hum of the city. I wanted to reach out, to pull her close and make everything right. But something had shifted. I felt it, a subtle distance creeping into the warmth we used to share. She laughed softly at something on her phone and I forced myself to laugh too, but the sound felt empty. My chest tightened, and I realized that maybe the forever I believed in was slipping, quietly, in small gestures and hesitations. I didn't say anything, didn't ask why. I just watched her, hoping she wouldn't notice how much I already needed her to stay. And that's when I first felt it, an unsettling sense that something was wrong. I woke up to the beeping of machines and the smell of antiseptic. My head felt heavy, my body heavier. Good morning, a nurse said softly, checking my for. How are you feeling today? I tried to smile. Better. I guess. Just a little dizzy. She nodded, scribbling something on the chart. That's normal. Take it easy. I nodded, but my chest tightened. I wanted to hear Maya's voice, to see her smile, but the thought made my stomach turn. I needed to tell her how bad it had gotten, how fragile I felt. When Maya finally appeared, her heels clicked in the hallway. Hey, she said, looking around. I got here as soon as I could. Thanks, I whispered. My voice cracked. I need to tell you something. Her brow furrowed slightly. Okay. What's going on? I've been worse than I let on. My tests, my blood work, it's not good. I've been hiding it, trying to stay strong. But I can't anymore. She blinked. For a moment, I thought she'd hold me, reassure me. Instead, she crossed her arms and leaned against the wall. I didn't know it was that bad. It's bad, I said, my voice shaking. I wake up dizzy. Sometimes I can't even stand. You're really sick, she interrupted, almost like she was stating a fact rather than comforting me. Yes, I said quietly, searching her face for the warmth I remembered. But it wasn't there. She glanced at the floor. I don't know if I can. What? I asked, heart hammering. You don't know if you can what? I mean. I don't know if I can handle this, she said, looking away. I didn't sign up for this. My stomach sank. What do you mean? You promised. I know what I promised, she said sharply. But promises don't always match reality. I can't be here like this. I can't watch you suffer every day. You're leaving? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She nodded slowly. I'm sorry. I have to go. I felt the room spin. My hands shook. Maya, please. Don't do this. I need you. I can't. I'm sorry, she said, grabbing her bag. Her eyes darted to the door. I need space. I can't watch you like this. The click of the door echoed like a gunshot. I sank back into the bed, numb, staring at the ceiling. My chest felt hollow, my heart a crater. Are you okay? The nurse asked gently, placing a hand on my arm. No, I said honestly. She left. She just left. The nurse squeezed my hand. I know it hurts. But you're still here. You're still fighting. I feel betrayed, I whispered. I thought she loved me. She might have. But love isn't always enough, the nurse said softly. You have to focus on yourself now. On surviving. I closed my eyes, the memories of Maya's laughter, her touch, her warmth flashing like cruel reminders. Had I misread everything? Had our forever been an illusion? I thought back to the nights she stayed awake talking, the mornings she brewed coffee just for me. And now, nothing. She had vanished from my world, leaving a hole filled with pain. I whispered to myself, I don't know if I can do this alone. The nurse knelt beside me. You can. You will. You're stronger than you think. I wanted to believe her, but I couldn't. The betrayal was raw, jagged, and it cut deeper than any illness ever could. I stared at the door Maya had walked through. For a moment, I imagined her returning, apologizing, holding me close. But reality slammed back. She wasn't coming. She had chosen to leave me, to abandon me when I needed her most. A tear rolled down my cheek. I trusted you, I whispered. I loved you. The nurse's voice was steady. And you still can. But first, you need to put yourself first. I nodded, though it felt impossible. I didn't want to hear her words. I wanted Maya to be here, to fix this. But she wasn't. And I had no choice but to face it alone. The machines beeped steadily around me. The sterile room smelled of disinfectant and quiet despair. I let out a shuddering breath, trying to anchor myself. Maybe survival was the only thing I had left. And maybe, just maybe, I could live through this betrayal without breaking entirely. The room felt colder than yesterday. Or maybe it was just me. I stared at the ceiling, listening to the steady hum of the machines and wondering why betrayal always hit the hardest when you were weakest. A knock on the door made me jump. "Who is it?" I croaked. "It's me," a familiar voice said. "Arman. Can I come in?" I hesitated, then nodded. He stepped inside, holding a small bag. "Thought you might need some company." I don't know if I want company," I admitted. My voice faltered. "I can't believe she left me." Arman pulled up a chair. "I know. I heard. I'm sorry, man. That's harsh." "It's more than harsh," I muttered. "It's betrayal. Everything I thought we had, gone." He leaned forward. "Look, I won't pretend I understand what it feels like to be in love with someone like Maya. But you can't let this destroy you." "I'm not sure I can help it," I said bitterly. She was supposed to be my forever. And now, nothing. Just emptiness. Arman frowned. "Empty now doesn't have to mean empty forever. You're still here. You're still breathing. That counts for something." "I feel worthless," I admitted, the words tasting bitter. Like I wasn't even enough for her. She didn't even try to stay. "You're more than enough," he said firmly. "But you can't force someone to stay. You can only control yourself. Right now, that's all you have." I closed my eyes, letting the tears sting. I don't even know where to start. Everything feels pointless. He sat back, giving me space. "Start with small steps. One thing at a time. Can you do that?" Maybe, I whispered, unsure if I was convincing him or myself. "But I keep thinking about her. Every smile, every laugh, every promise. And I hate that I miss her already." "That's normal," Arman said quietly. "Missing someone doesn't mean you let them hurt you forever. You remember the good, learn from it, and then, move forward." I wanted to argue, to tell him that moving forward felt impossible. But his calmness, the way he didn't judge me for falling apart, made me pause. "It's hard," I admitted. "I know," he said. "I won't lie and say it's easy. But you're stronger than you think. You survived her leaving. You can survive what comes next." I laughed bitterly. "Survived? Barely. I feel like a shadow of myself. Empty, broken, abandoned." "Broken doesn't mean done," Arman replied. "It means you're human. And humans can rebuild, even from the darkest places." I swallowed hard, letting his words sink in. Could I rebuild? Could I stop clinging to the idea of her, to the illusion of what I thought we had? "Maybe," I whispered. "Maybe I can." "Good," he said. "Because you need to. Maya isn't coming back. And holding on to her won't help you heal." I hated hearing it, but part of me knew he was right. Still, the thought of letting go made my chest ache. "I don't even know if I can forgive her," I said. "You don't have to," he said. "Forgiveness isn't the point. Survival is. You focus on you, and the rest will follow." I looked at him, feeling a flicker of something I hadn't felt in days, hope. Not for her. Not for what we had. But for me. Maybe I could reclaim a life that wasn't tied to her, a life where I mattered first. "I guess. I have to try," I said quietly. "Yes," he said, smiling faintly. "Try for yourself, not for anyone else. You'll find your way." I nodded, staring out the window at the gray sky. The shadows outside mirrored my mood, but inside, a tiny spark flickered. Maybe I could survive this. Maybe I could find myself again, even without her. And for the first time in days, I felt a small sense of direction, a whisper of strength in the middle of my despair. Arman helped me out of the hospital lobby, his hand steady around mine. Feeling nervous? He asked. Terrified, I admitted, my voice low. I've been trapped in that room for days. Without her, it feels empty. Like I don't know who I am anymore. You'll figure it out, he said, guiding me to the car. Step by step. One thing at a time. I laughed bitterly. Step by step. Easy for you to say. You didn't just get abandoned by someone you trusted with your life. True, he said calmly. But I've seen you fight before. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for. You just need to start small. Small. The word echoed. I thought of the empty apartment waiting for me, silent and cold. Maybe he was right. Maybe starting small was all I could do. All right, I said, gripping the steering wheel once we reached my place. What's first? Unpack, he said. Cook something. Shower. Simple stuff. You can't rebuild overnight, but you can rebuild one corner at a time. I groaned. I feel pathetic asking for help with this. You're not pathetic, he said firmly. You're human. And humans need help sometimes. I nodded, letting him settle in the living room while I unpacked. Every object I touched, clothes, books, my laptop, felt like proof I still existed outside Maya's shadow. It was exhausting, but it also felt empowering. Later, while making tea, I almost dropped the kettle. Damn it, I muttered. Even this feels impossible. You're doing fine, a cheerful voice said behind me. I jumped. A young nurse, clipboard in hand, leaned against the doorframe. Hi. I'm Sana. I work at the clinic across the street. Arman told me to check in. I blinked. Check in, on me? She grinned. Yep. Don't worry, I'm not going to lecture you or pity you. I just like seeing people fight their way back. I scoffed. Fight back. I feel like I'm drowning. Drowning? She said, stepping closer. Good. That means you're still breathing. Still alive. And as long as you're alive, there's hope. I stared at her, unsure if I should feel encouraged or annoyed. Hope seems distant. Distant, yes, she agreed. But not gone. You're here, making tea, unpacking. That counts. You're fighting. Her words stirred something I hadn't felt in days, a flicker of pride. Maybe she was right. Maybe surviving wasn't just about hospital walls or pain. Maybe it was in these small acts. Arman watched quietly, a faint smile on his face. See? Progress, he said. I guess, I muttered, stirring the tea. But it's weird. Every time I do something normal, I think about her. About how she left, about what I lost. Sana shrugged. You can think. Just don't let it freeze you. Pain teaches you lessons, but it doesn't get to decide your life. I nodded, taking a deep breath. Pain's loud. Hard to ignore. Yes, she said, but it's also temporary. Small victories drown it out. I stared at my reflection in the kettle. Small victories. I repeated it like a mantra. Maybe walking to the corner store, cooking a simple meal, calling Arman instead of wallowing, maybe that counted. I think I can do this, I said quietly. One step at a time. Exactly, Sana said. And when you fall, you get up. Again and again. That's healing. I nodded, gripping the cup of tea. I thought of Maya, of all the promises and laughter, and for the first time, I didn't want her back. I wanted me back. You're stronger than you know, Sana added, a knowing smile in her eyes. Yeah, I whispered, a small smile tugging at my lips. Maybe I am. Arman leaned back in his chair. I'll take that as a win for today. It is, I said, staring out the window at the gray sky. My apartment wasn't warm yet, my chest wasn't free of ache, and the shadow of Maya still lingered, but for the first time in weeks, I felt the tiniest spark of control. Control over me. Control over my life. And maybe, just maybe, that spark could grow. I was scrolling through my phone when I froze. A message notification from someone I didn't recognize. Maya asked me to check if he's really recovering. I stared at it. My chest tightened. What the hell? I muttered. Arman, who was sitting nearby, glanced up. What is it? It's a message about her. She's talking to other people about me. About my illness. My hands shook. Like I'm some project she's done with. Arman leaned forward. Are you sure? Maybe it's just. No. I snapped. I know her. She's moved on. Fast. Too fast. I tapped my phone frantically, opening more messages, social media posts, little traces of her laughter and life without me. Look at this, I said, showing him. She's already, smiling, posting, living. No guilt. Nothing. Arman frowned. Damn. That's cold. I'm sorry, man. I ran my hands through my hair, trying to make sense of it. I can't believe I stayed up nights, thinking she'd come back. Thinking she loved me. All this time, I was nothing to her. You were real to her, Arman said quietly. But people handle things differently. Doesn't mean you weren't enough. I shook my head. She promised. She promised she'd stay. And she left. And now, my voice broke. Now she's enjoying life without me. Do you want to call her? Arman asked cautiously. I didn't answer immediately. Part of me wanted to scream, to demand answers, to hear her justify the betrayal. Part of me feared hearing her laughter, her calm, detached voice. But I picked up my phone anyway. Hello. Her voice was as smooth as ever. Maya, why? My voice shook. Why how are you doing this? What do you mean, she said, almost innocent. I couldn't believe the calm in her tone. Don't act like you don't know. Messages, posts, you moved on. Already. You're smiling while I'm stuck here trying to survive. There was silence on the line. Then, I didn't think you'd see those. I thought you'd understand. I didn't want to hurt you more. You didn't want to hurt me. Maya, you left me. Alone. In the hospital. While I was sick. And now you act like it's nothing. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen like this, she said softly. But I can't. I can't be tied down to someone who's suffering all the time. It's too much for me. Too much. I yelled. Do you know what it felt like? To look for you and find nothing. To trust someone and be thrown away. I know it hurts, she whispered. But my life. I can't stop it for you. I didn't choose this lightly. I gritted my teeth. Then you chose yourself. That's what this was. Always about you. Your comfort, your life, your happiness. And me? I didn't matter. Not even a little. She began, but I cut her off. No. Don't. I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want your apologies. My voice trembled. I needed the truth. And the truth is, you left. You abandoned me. And you don't regret it. There was silence again. I didn't know what else to do, she said finally. I felt a flash of anger, sharp and hot. I could ruin everything for you, I hissed. Expose you, make everyone see who you really are. That would hurt you. Arman's hand gripped my shoulder. Stop. Don't go there. I closed my eyes, breathing hard. Rage pulsed through me, threatening to consume every rational thought. And then, something shifted. A tiny flicker of clarity. I opened my eyes. No, I said softly. That's not me. That's not what I want. I don't need revenge. I need me. I need to heal. To live. To be more than this betrayal. Maya's voice trembled slightly on the line. Are you okay? I swallowed, steadying my voice. I will be. I'll survive this. And I won't waste another second on anger at you. Even after everything? She asked, quietly. Yes, I said firmly. Even after everything. I have to. For me. I ended the call, setting the phone down. The weight of betrayal still pressed against my chest, but I felt the tiniest shift, a spark of control, a hint that I could choose myself over her, even if it hurt. Arman nodded at me. See? You're stronger than you think. I hope so, I muttered, staring out the window. I really hope so. The city lights flickered in the distance, and for the first time in days, I felt a thread of clarity weaving through the chaos. Revenge might have been tempting. Anger might have been satisfying. But this choice, self-restoration, survival, reclaiming my life, felt like the only way forward. And maybe, just maybe, I could survive the sting of memories without losing myself completely. I walked into the office for the first time since the hospital, my hands trembling slightly as I pushed open the door. Hey! Arman's voice called from his desk. Look who's back. I forced a smile. Yeah, me. You nervous? He asked, standing and clapping me on the shoulder. A little, I admitted. It's been a long few weeks. You survived them, he said, grinning. Now survive this. I chuckled, the sound rusty in my own ears. Easier said than done. Nothing worth doing is easy, he replied. You'll be fine. Just take it slow. I nodded, moving to my desk. The office smelled the same, coffee, paper, faint traces of stress. I sat down, setting my bag carefully. For the first time in days, the space didn't feel empty or hostile. It felt mine again. Ready to start? Arman asked. As ready as I'll ever be, I muttered, pulling out my laptop. He smirked. That's the spirit. Emails, meetings, small tasks, it was exhausting, but the more I completed, the lighter I felt. Each little success reminded me that life hadn't stopped because Maya left. I was still me. Still capable. During lunch, Arman leaned across the table. You've changed, he said quietly. How? I asked. You're calmer. More focused. I can see it in the way you handle things. You've got a spark back. I smiled faintly, letting his words sink in. I guess. I realized I don't need to wait for anyone to validate me. Not Maya, not anyone. Exactly, he said. Your life is yours. She made her choice. Now it's time for you to make yours. I think I'm starting to, I admitted. It's weird, but I feel proud of small things. Even getting through the morning without panicking feels like a win. That's the point, Arman said. Small wins build the bigger picture. Later, I dusted off my old sketch pad. For years, I'd loved drawing but had abandoned it for work and life distractions. Arman came by and peered over my shoulder. You've still got it, he said. These lines, they're alive. Feels good to do something for me again, I said softly, tracing a pencil over the page. Something I abandoned because I was too distracted with life and her. You're rediscovering yourself, Arman said, leaning back. That's better than any revenge or satisfaction you could get from her. I paused, thinking about Maya, her calm voice, her laughter, her betrayal. You're right, I said finally. I almost wished for her to fail, or regret. But, that wouldn't fix me. Only this, me, fixing me, does. He nodded. And look at you. You're already doing it. One day at a time. I smiled, feeling the tension in my chest loosen slightly. I never thought I could enjoy simple things again without that shadow hanging over me. The shadow's still there, Arman said. But it doesn't control you anymore. I think I can handle it now, I whispered. I traced the edge of the sketchpad, imagining my life as blank pages I could fill however I chose. Maya's chapter was over. My story wasn't. By evening, I felt a warmth I hadn't felt in weeks. I had made it through the office, a few minor crises, and even laughed with colleagues. It was faint, fragile, but real. Arman glanced at me as we left. See? Stronger than you thought. I feel stronger, I admitted. And maybe this betrayal was a strange kind of gift. It forced me to see what I was capable of when I had no one else to lean on. He smiled. That's the spirit. Life has a funny way of balancing things. You didn't need revenge, you needed yourself. Yeah, I said, looking up at the sky outside. The sunset painted everything gold and pink. I felt my chest lift, as if the colors were filling spaces I'd thought empty forever. I whispered to myself, I can do this. I can live. I can be happy again, without her, but with me. Arman nudged me playfully. That's the tone I want to hear every day. I laughed, a full, real laugh. Don't push it, or I'll get used to feeling this good. Better get used to it, he said. You're on your way. For the first time in months, I believed it. I didn't need anyone else's validation. I didn't need revenge. I needed me, and I was finally learning how to give it to myself. And in that moment, I realized that rising from ashes wasn't just surviving, it was reclaiming the life I thought was gone. I heard about her through whispers, passing comments, and subtle hints that reached me without intention. A colleague mentioned seeing her at a cafe downtown, alone, scrolling endlessly on her phone. Another joked that she looked frozen in thought, no friends beside her, laughing at nothing. I didn't ask for these details. They found me, sneaking into my awareness like shadows I didn't summon. Part of me wanted to scoff, to feel a rush of vindication. She had left me, cold and indifferent, and now her new life wasn't as flawless as she presented online. Maybe she realized, finally, that happiness wasn't granted by charm or smiles alone. Maybe she felt the hollow space she left in others. But I couldn't let myself gloat. I shook my head, trying to force perspective. This wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about her failures. It was about me. About reclaiming my strength, my sense of self. Still, I admitted it quietly to myself, there was a fleeting sense of justice in seeing her stumble. Subtle failures, small missteps, lonely dinners alone where she had once expected my presence to fix the silence. The universe, in its slow and patient way, had a rhythm. Karma was not loud, it was soft, almost invisible, but undeniable when you paused to notice. I thought back to the hospital bed, to the panic in my own chest when she walked out of my life. I remembered the tears, the ache, the desperation. And I realized something, surviving that moment, living through that betrayal, had been my first real triumph. Everything else she endured paled in comparison. You've been quiet today, Arman said as we walked home after work. I'm just thinking, I replied. About how life balances itself out. About her. About me. Arman glanced at me but didn't probe. He understood silence was my processing. He'd learned to let me sit in my thoughts without pushing. I admitted it, softly, I see her little stumbles, the loneliness she hides behind charm, and I feel a strange mix of something. Not happiness, exactly. But relief. And maybe, clarity. Clarity? Arman asked, curious. Yes, I said, staring at the streetlights. Clarity that I don't need to exact revenge. That her life, her choices, they aren't mine to fix or punish. All I needed was to heal. We walked past the cafe where she had been seen. My stomach tightened briefly, memories stirring, her laughter, the way she leaned close when I told her something private, the warmth of her hand in mine. I swallowed hard. Those memories still stung. But now they stung differently. They weren't chains, they were reminders of what I had survived. You're at peace with it? Arman asked. I think so, I admitted. It's strange. I wanted her to hurt at first. I imagined it would make me feel powerful. But it doesn't. I feel calmer. Stronger. And sad, yes, but not consumed. Arman nodded, his gaze steady. That's growth. Real growth. I let the words settle. I thought about the months I had spent rebuilding myself, sketching, returning to work, laughing with friends, even enjoying solitude. All those small victories mattered far more than her stumbles, far more than her loneliness. My life was mine, reclaimed piece by piece. And yet, I couldn't deny a quiet melancholy. Karma wasn't a spectacle, it wasn't dramatic. It was quiet and patient. Watching it unfold from a distance, I felt its weight, but also its subtle poetry. Life had a way of nudging people toward realization, and Maya was learning hers. Slowly. And I didn't need to intervene. I thought about calling her, about confronting her with what I knew. But I didn't. That desire, the old, bitter desire, was gone. Instead, I whispered to myself, she'll learn. I'll keep walking forward. Arman smiled faintly, sensing the internal shift. You're not the same person you were months ago. Not broken anymore. No, I said quietly, feeling the truth in it. I'm not. I'm still scarred, yes. But I'm alive. I've taken control. And that matters more than anyone else's pain. We walked a few blocks in silence, letting the cool evening air settle around us. I thought about her, about all the plans we had made, all the promises she broke. I acknowledged the hurt without letting it define me. Each memory, each pang, became a stepping stone rather than a trap. And in that quiet, I realized that real satisfaction didn't come from seeing someone falter. It came from knowing I had survived, that I had rebuilt my life without letting bitterness consume me. The subtle justice of karma wasn't in vengeance, it was in the calm, steady way life unfolded. I whispered, almost to myself, this is my victory. Not hers. Mine. Arman glanced at me, a knowing look in his eyes. I smiled faintly, letting the melancholy and the clarity coexist. I had walked through fire, through betrayal, through heartbreak. And now, I was walking forward, stronger, wiser, and free. I didn't expect her to call. My phone lit up with her name, and my chest tightened. I stared at it for a long moment. Arman, sitting nearby, noticed my hesitation. Thinking of answering, he asked quietly. I don't know, I admitted. Part of me wants to hear her, I guess. Another part doesn't. Do what feels right, he said. I took a deep breath and answered. Hello. Maya, she said, voice tentative, almost fragile. Can we meet? Just talk. I think I lost something important. I hesitated. Her words stirred old memories, laughter, whispers, promises. But I also remembered the hospital bed, the loneliness, the betrayal. Where? I asked finally. By the park, she said softly. In an hour? Fine, I said, keeping my voice neutral. When I arrived, she was already there, standing near the fountain, hands fidgeting nervously. She looked the same, beautiful, calm, but the energy around her was different. Uncertain, almost, apologetic. "Maya," I said, keeping my distance. "Hi," she replied, taking a tentative step forward. "Thank you for coming. I needed to see you." I studied her. Needed to see me? Or needed to see if I still cared? Her lips trembled. I don't know. I realized I lost something I shouldn't have. You. I mean, us. Us? I asked, raising an eyebrow. You left me, Maya. You walked away when I was at my weakest. And now you realize, what exactly? That I made a mistake, she said quietly. I thought I could handle everything, and I couldn't. I thought leaving was easier. But it wasn't. It's been lonely. And I. Lonely? I interrupted, voice firm. Do you know how lonely I was? Sick, scared, abandoned. Do you know what it felt like to trust someone with everything and have them walk away? Her eyes welled with tears. I know. I know I hurt you. I regret it every day. I shook my head, a bitter smile tugging at my lips. Regret isn't enough, Maya. Not anymore. I survived without you. I rebuilt without you. And that matters more than any apology you can give. She flinched slightly, like she hadn't expected my resolve. But I wanted to see if there was a chance. A way to. To what? I asked, cutting her off. To erase the past. To pretend the months of pain, fear, and betrayal didn't happen. That's not how this works. I've grown, Maya. I've healed. I've reclaimed my life. I thought maybe we could try again, she said softly, almost pleading. I stepped back, keeping my gaze steady. No. I won't go back. Not because I don't care about what we had, but because I care about me. I care about my strength, my peace. And I can't risk losing that again. Her voice dropped. Even after everything, you don't hate me? I shook my head. I don't need hate. I don't need vengeance. I need me. And I've found that, Maya. Without you. She swallowed hard, the tension in her shoulders heavy. I'm sorry, she whispered. I know, I said softly. And I forgive you, not for you, but for me. I can't carry that weight anymore. I won't. She nodded slowly, a small, sad smile forming. I understand, she said, voice breaking slightly. I hope you're truly happy. I will be, I said firmly. And I mean that. There was silence between us, filled only by the distant sounds of children playing, birds calling, the fountain's water trickling. It was peaceful, almost serene. I should go, she said finally, stepping back. I guess, this is it. Yes, I said quietly. This is it. Take care, Maya. She nodded once, then walked away, head held high but shoulders slightly hunched. I watched her go, feeling an unexpected mix of melancholy and liberation. My chest was lighter, my step steadier. The past was over. The betrayal was no longer a chain, it was a lesson. Arman, standing a few feet behind me, gave a subtle nod. You okay? I am, I said, taking a deep breath. Better than okay. Free. We walked back together, side by side, and I realized I hadn't felt this calm in months. No anger, no longing, no emptiness. Just clarity, strength, and a quiet pride. For the first time, I understood fully that healing wasn't about her. It was about me. And now, I could finally embrace the life I had fought to reclaim. I woke up to sunlight spilling across the floor, warm and golden, and for the first time in months, I didn't feel the weight of emptiness pressing on my chest. I stretched, feeling the muscles in my arms and legs that had been tense for weeks, and smiled faintly. Arman walked in with 2 mugs of coffee. "Morning," he said cheerfully. "You look lighter." "I feel lighter," I admitted, taking one of the mugs. "Like I can finally breathe without thinking about what's missing." "That's good," he said, sitting across from me. "Really good. I guess all those small steps, going back to work, sketching, reconnecting with people, I didn't realize how much they mattered until now," I said, sipping the coffee. "They mattered because you did them," Arman said. "Not because anyone forced you. You rebuilt yourself. That's the important part." I nodded, thinking of the hospital bed, the betrayal, the nights I spent imagining revenge. All of it seemed distant now, like a storm that had passed. I almost wasted so much energy wishing she would fail. But it turns out, I didn't need that. I just needed me. Sanaa appeared in the doorway, holding a small bag of snacks. "Breakfast delivery," she said, smiling. "Thought you might be hungry." And, I wanted to say, "I'm proud of you. Seeing you these past weeks, it's inspiring." I laughed softly. "Thanks. I never thought I'd hear that from a nurse." "You're not just a patient anymore," she said. "You're someone who fought back. And you're still fighting, every day." I felt a warmth in my chest, different from the old ache of longing or betrayal. It was connection. Real, supportive, uncomplicated. It feels good to hear that. To know people actually notice your effort. "Of course they do," Sanaa said. "We notice when someone refuses to give up on themselves." Arman leaned back in his chair. "Look at you, all philosophical and strong." I smiled. "I guess I've learned a few things. Like, life moves forward whether you fight it or not. And happiness, real happiness, isn't about someone else, it's about being okay with yourself." Arman nodded. "Exactly. And you're living proof of that. You didn't just survive, you grew. You're stronger now than you ever were." I thought about Maya one last time, the betrayal, the heartbreak, the reunion. I felt a strange calm. No anger, no yearning, just clarity. "I'll never forget what happened," I admitted quietly. "But I'm not letting it define me. Not anymore. It was a chapter, and now I'm writing the next one." Sanaa smiled softly. "And it's looking like a good one." "I hope so," I said, feeling a genuine sense of optimism. "I want to travel more, draw more, laugh more without guilt. I want to focus on the things I almost forgot to love, about myself." Arman raised his mug. "To you, then. And to new beginnings." I clinked my mug against his. "To new beginnings," I echoed, savoring the moment. Later, I sat by the window with my sketchpad, drawing shapes that didn't have to mean anything. I let my mind wander, thinking about the journey I had taken, from heartbreak and betrayal to survival and growth. Each line on the page felt like a release, a testament to the life I was reclaiming. "Hey," Arman said from the doorway. "Lunch?" "Sure," I replied, closing the sketchpad. "But first, I just want to sit for a moment. Enjoy the quiet." "Take your time," he said, smiling. "You earned it." I watched the sunlight shifting across the floor, the city bustling outside, and felt a sense of freedom I hadn't known in years. Freedom from anger, from dependence, from the shadow of what I lost. Sanaa appeared again, holding a coffee refill. "Careful, don't let the world rush in too fast," she said playfully. I laughed. "I'm learning to take it slow. Step by step." "You've come a long way," she said quietly. "Don't forget that." "I won't," I said firmly. "Every step matters." I looked out the window again, the horizon glowing with possibilities. The past was behind me, the pain acknowledged but no longer controlling me. I had survived, grown, and discovered strength I never knew I had. Arman and Sanaa left me for a moment, giving me the quiet I craved. I leaned back, closed my eyes, and whispered to myself, I am enough. I am free. I am alive. And for the first time in a long time, I truly meant it. Life would go on. And I would face it, whole, unbroken, and never looking back.